What's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another explosive episode. I'm coming to you today with some serious urgency because what I'm about to reveal could literally change your financial future forever. And I'm not just talking about making a few extra bucks. I'm talking about generational wealth that could set you and your family free for decades to come. But here's the thing. They don't want you to know this. The big banks, the financial institutions, the market makers, they're all working against retail investors like you and me. They want you frustrated, they want you impatient, and most importantly, they want you out before the real money is made. I've been in this space for years now, and I've watched thousands of people make the same costly mistake over and over again. They buy in with dreams of quick riches, and when they don't see immediate results, they panic sell at exactly the wrong time. Don't be that person. Don't let them shake you out of what could be the biggest wealth transfer in human history. Today we're talking about XRP, and specifically why patience isn't just a virtue in this market. It's your literal ticket to financial freedom. I'm going to show you why a $300 XRP isn't just possible in this cycle, it's probable. But more importantly, I'm going to explain why most people will never see those gains, because they simply don't have what it takes to hold through the storm. Let me paint you a picture of what's really happening behind the scenes. While you're sitting there checking your portfolio every 5 minutes, getting frustrated by sideways price action, there are billion-dollar institutions quietly accumulating massive positions. They know something that retail investors don't seem to understand. This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And the biggest rewards don't go to the fastest runners, they go to the ones who can endure until the finish line. I want you to think about the XRP army for a moment. These aren't just random crypto enthusiasts throwing money around hoping to get lucky. These are battle-tested investors who sat through over 1,000 days of brutal price action. 1,000 days, that's nearly 3 years of watching their investment get mocked, ridiculed, and written off by the entire crypto community. Imagine buying XRP and watching it rally to 5 cents, feeling that rush of excitement, only to see it crash back down to 30 or 40 cents. Then it happens again and again. Rally to 50 cents, crash back down, month after month, year after year. The entire crypto community laughing at you, calling you delusional, telling you to sell and move on to the next shiny object. But you know what separated the winners from the losers during those dark years? Patience. Pure, unwavering patience. While everyone else was chasing the latest meme coin or jumping from project to project, the real XRP holders just kept accumulating. They understood something fundamental about wealth creation that most people never learn. The biggest gains come to those who can sit through the most pain. And look where we are now. Those same people who were getting laughed at for holding XRP through 1,000 days of sideways action are now sitting on gains that most investors only dream about. But here's the kicker. We're just getting started. What we've seen so far is nothing compared to what's coming. Let me share something with you that should absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a $155 trillion market. That's not a typo. 155 trillion with a T. That's the size of the global cross-border payments market, and Ripple has spent years building the infrastructure to capture a massive chunk of it. This isn't speculation anymore. This isn't hopium or wishful thinking. This is documented, verifiable fact. Ripple has been methodically building the rails for years, creating partnerships with banks and financial institutions around the world. The network is almost complete, and when they flip that switch, when XRP goes live across all these rails, we're not talking about small percentage gains anymore. We're talking about 4-digit XRP, maybe even 5 digits. And it's going to happen fast. Faster than most people can even comprehend. One day you'll wake up and XRP will have moved from $2 to $20 overnight, then from 20 to 200. The kind of moves that create millionaires in days, not years. But here's what keeps me up at night. I know that 90% of current XRP holders will sell long before we reach those levels. They'll see a 50% gain and think they're geniuses. They'll cash out at $10 and pat themselves on the back for being smart traders. Meanwhile, the patient investors will ride it all the way to generational wealth. You want to know who has the most to lose when Ripple takes over the SWIFT system? The Netherlands. Think about that for a second. The Dutch have been at the heart of global banking for over 400 years. They helped create SWIFT back in 1973. They've got one of only 3 worldwide data centers processing financial messages for over 11,000 banks. These people have built their entire economy around being the middleman in global finance, and Ripple is about to make them obsolete. When XRP starts handling cross-border transactions faster, cheaper, and more efficiently than SWIFT, what do you think happens to all that Dutch banking infrastructure? This is why the resistance has been so fierce. This is why the SEC lawsuit dragged on for years. This is why there's been so much FUD and negative press around XRP. The old guard knows their time is up and they're fighting tooth and nail to maintain the status quo. But technology doesn't care about your feelings or your legacy business model. Progress is inevitable. And speaking of inevitability, let me tell you about what's happening in Europe right now. The European Central Bank is working on their digital euro, and guess what cryptocurrency is mentioned not once but twice in their official white paper? XRP. They're literally considering running their central bank digital currency on the XRP ledger. Do you understand what this means? When a central bank starts using your cryptocurrency to move their digital currency, you're not just holding a speculative asset anymore. You're holding a critical piece of global financial infrastructure. The demand dynamics completely change. We're not talking about retail investors buying a few $100s worth anymore. We're talking about nation states needing massive quantities to facilitate their monetary systems. This is exactly what I mean when I say patience is your greatest asset. While everyone else is focused on daily price movements and getting frustrated by short-term volatility, the smart money is positioning for these massive macro trends that play out over years, not days. But let me be brutally honest with you about something. The market makers know exactly what they're doing. They're not stupid, and they're not your friends. They understand human psychology better than most people understand themselves. They know that retail investors are emotional, impatient, and predictable. Right now, while you're feeling frustrated by sideways price action, they're accumulating. They're using your impatience against you, shaking weak hands out of their positions before the real move begins. It's the same playbook they've used for decades in traditional markets, and it works every single time because human nature doesn't change. Think about it logically for a second. Do you really think institutions are going to pump prices when everyone is expecting it? When retail investors are excited and buying with both hands? Of course not. They're going to wait until everyone has lost hope. They're going to wait until the last retail investor throws in the towel and sells their position at a loss. That's when they'll full send this market to levels that will make your head spin. They'll pump it so hard and so fast that anyone who sold will have no choice but to FOMO back in at much higher prices. And then, once retail is fully loaded up again, they'll pull the rug and start the cycle all over again. I've seen this happen countless times over the years, and it never stops being painful to watch. Good people, hard-working people, getting emotionally manipulated out of positions that could have changed their lives forever. Don't be one of those people. Let me share a prediction that caught my attention recently. A respected analyst with 500,000 followers just put out some price targets for the next major pump cycle. Ethereum to $25,000, Solana to $2,000, and XRP to $300. Now I want you to really think about that XRP number for a moment. $300. From current prices, we're talking about gains that would turn a $1,000 investment into over $100,000. A $10,000 investment becomes $3 million. These are life-changing numbers we're discussing. But here's what I find fascinating. Most people will read those numbers and either dismiss them as impossible or get so excited that they expect it to happen next week. Both reactions are wrong. $300 XRP is absolutely possible, but it's going to require patience that most people simply don't have. I actually ran some scenarios through advanced AI models recently, factoring in potential ETF approvals, institutional adoption, and retail FOMO cycles. The AI suggested that with the right catalysts, XRP could potentially reach $500 or more in this cycle. $500. That's not me being overly optimistic. That's mathematical modeling based on historical precedents and market dynamics. But you know what the AI also told me? That over 90% of current holders will sell before we reach even half of those levels. They'll get scared by volatility, they'll doubt the thesis when the media turns negative, they'll panic sell during a temporary dip and never get back in. This brings me to one of my favorite topics, the technical superiority of the XRP ledger. While Bitcoin maximalists love to talk about their network being invincible, the reality is quite different. Bitcoin regularly goes hours without confirming transactions. It's had multiple network-level failures, including an 8-hour outage in 2010 and a 6-hour outage in 2013. Meanwhile, the XRP ledger has been designed from the ground up to be anti-fragile. It's more complex than Bitcoin, yes, but that complexity serves a purpose. The ledger is deliberately designed not to rely on uncertain states. It won't tell you a transaction is confirmed unless it can guarantee that confirmation will be accepted by the entire network. This is why smart money is starting to realize that even Bitcoin transactions might be better served running over the XRP ledger, faster, cheaper, more reliable. But Bitcoin maximalists can't bring themselves to admit it because it would shatter their narrative about digital gold and store of value. The future of all cryptocurrency transactions, including Bitcoin, may very well depend on XRP ledger technology. Think about what that means for demand. Think about what that means for price appreciation when every major cryptocurrency needs XRP ledger functionality to remain competitive. Now, I want to address something that's been bothering me lately. I keep seeing posts on social media from people who've been holding XRP for 6 months and are already talking about selling because nothing's happening. 6 months. These people think 6 months is a long time in cryptocurrency markets. Let me give you some perspective. The biggest winners in crypto history held for years, not months. They held through multiple bear markets, through endless FUD campaigns, through periods where their investments dropped by 80 or 90%. They held when everyone called them crazy, when friends and family begged them to sell, when every financial expert said cryptocurrency was a scam. And you know what? Those people are now financially free. Not because they got lucky, but because they had the mental fortitude to stick with their convictions when it was hardest to do so. This is exactly why patience is your greatest asset. It's not just about holding through downturns, it's about holding through the boring times too. The sideways action. The periods where nothing seems to be happening. Those are often the most critical times, because that's when weak hands reveal themselves. Every person who sells their XRP because they're tired of waiting is essentially transferring their future wealth to someone with more patience. It's one of the most expensive mistakes you can make, and sadly, it's also one of the most common. But here's something that should give you tremendous confidence about the future. We're entering an era where you won't even need to sell your cryptocurrency to benefit from it. Artificial intelligence agents are being developed that can put your crypto to work for you, generating passive income while you hold your positions. Imagine owning XRP that not only appreciates in value, but also generates cash flow through AI-powered trading, lending, or other financial strategies. You could potentially live off the income generated by your crypto holdings without ever touching the principal. That's generational wealth in its purest form. This technology is coming faster than most people realize, and it's going to completely change how we think about cryptocurrency investing. Instead of buying low and selling high, we'll be buying and holding forever, while our assets work for us in ways we never imagined possible. But again, this only works if you have the patience to hold long enough to benefit from these innovations. If you sell your XRP today because you're frustrated by short-term price action, you'll miss out on technologies that haven't even been invented yet. I want to talk about something else that's been weighing on my mind: the contagious nature of negativity in crypto markets. I see it happen all the time. One person gets frustrated and makes a long post about why they're selling their XRP. Then other people read that post and start doubting their own positions. Before you know it, there's a cascade of selling based not on fundamentals or market conditions, but on pure emotion. This is exactly what the market makers want. They want retail investors influenced by fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They want people making emotional decisions based on what others are doing, rather than sticking to their original investment thesis. Remember why you bought XRP in the first place. Has that thesis changed? Has Ripple stopped building partnerships? Has the regulatory environment gotten worse? Has the technology become obsolete? If the answer to all these questions is no, then why would you let someone else's impatience influence your financial decisions? The most successful investors I know have learned to tune out the noise completely. They do their research, make their investments, and then they wait. They don't check prices every day. They don't read every piece of FUD that gets published. They certainly don't make investment decisions based on what random people post on social media. They understand that wealth creation is a process, not an event. It happens gradually, then suddenly. And if you're not positioned correctly when that sudden part arrives, all the gradual accumulation in the world won't help you. This brings me to something crucial I want you to understand about market timing. Everyone thinks they're going to time the market perfectly. They think they'll sell near the top and buy back near the bottom. The reality is that even professional traders with decades of experience and access to the best information struggle to time markets consistently. But you know what's easier than timing the market? Holding a fundamentally sound asset through multiple market cycles. It requires no special skills, no technical analysis, no insider information. It just requires patience and the ability to ignore short-term noise. XRP is that fundamentally sound asset. It's solving a real problem in a massive market. It has institutional backing, regulatory clarity, and technological superiority. The only question isn't whether it will succeed. It's whether you'll have the patience to hold long enough to benefit from that success. I've been tracking institutional activity lately, and what I'm seeing should give every retail investor tremendous confidence. While retail traders are panic selling during every minor dip, institutions are steadily accumulating. They're not trying to time perfect entry points. They're not worried about short-term volatility. They're building positions for the long term because they understand the magnitude of what's coming. These aren't crypto speculators or day traders. These are pension funds, insurance companies, family offices, institutions that manage money for decades, not days. When they start allocating capital to XRP, it's because their analysts have done the math and realized that cross-border payments are about to be revolutionized. The writing is on the wall for anyone willing to see it. Global regulations are being harmonized. Stablecoin frameworks are being established. Cross-border payment rails are being built. Central bank digital currencies are being tested. All of these developments point to a future where XRP plays a central role in global finance. But that future isn't going to arrive overnight, and it's not going to be a smooth ride. There will be setbacks, regulatory challenges, technical hurdles, and market volatility. The people who profit from this transformation won't be the ones looking for quick gains. They'll be the ones with the patience to hold through all the uncertainty. Let me share something with you that really drives this point home. I was looking at some historical data recently, and I found something fascinating. Every major bull run in cryptocurrency history has been preceded by a period where most people lost interest, where trading volumes dropped, where social media sentiment turned negative, where even hardcore believers started questioning their positions. That's not a coincidence. It's how markets work. The biggest moves happen when the fewest people expect them. Right now, while everyone is complaining about boring price action and sideways movement, smart money is positioning for what comes next. And what comes next is going to be spectacular. Not just for XRP, but for the entire utility token sector. We're talking about coins like Stellar, Hedera, Quant, all the projects that are building real-world financial infrastructure. They've been beaten down, ignored, and written off by the market. But that's exactly why they're about to explode. The market loves narratives, and the next narrative is going to be utility. Real use cases, actual adoption, revenue generation, all the things that XRP has been building toward for years, while everyone else was chasing meme coins and NFT projects. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine waking up one morning to find that XRP has moved from $2 to $20 overnight. Not because of speculation or hype, but because a major central bank just announced they're using XRP for all their international settlements, or because Amazon just integrated XRP payments for all international transactions. These aren't fantasy scenarios. These are the kinds of announcements that could happen any day now. Ripple has been building relationships with major institutions for years. They've been waiting for regulatory clarity to make major moves. Now that they have that clarity, the real game begins. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. I know that when those announcements come, most current XRP holders will sell into the initial pump. They'll see a 5 or 10x gain and think they've won the lottery. They'll cash out and walk away, never realizing that they just sold the beginning of a much larger move. The patient investors will recognize those announcements for what they really are: validation of the long-term thesis. They'll hold through the initial excitement because they understand that real adoption takes time to fully manifest in price appreciation. This is why I keep emphasizing patience as your greatest asset. It's not just about holding through bear markets. It's about holding through the early stages of bull markets too. It's about recognizing that the biggest gains come not from buying low and selling high, but from buying conviction assets and holding them until they reach their full potential. And XRP's full potential is massive. We're not just talking about a cryptocurrency anymore. We're talking about the backbone of a new global financial system. We're talking about the rails on which trillions of dollars will flow between countries, institutions, and individuals. When you hold XRP, you're not just speculating on price appreciation. You're investing in the infrastructure of tomorrow's economy. You're positioning yourself to benefit from one of the largest technological shifts in human history, the transition from slow, expensive correspondent banking to instant, cheap digital settlements. The people who understand this and have the patience to hold through the transition are going to be rewarded beyond their wildest dreams. The people who get shaken out by short-term volatility or bored by sideways price action are going to miss one of the greatest wealth creation opportunities of our lifetime. So let me ask you a direct question. Are you going to be patient, or are you going to be another cautionary tale? Are you going to trust the process and hold through the uncertainty, or are you going to let fear and impatience rob you of your financial future? The choice is yours, but choose wisely. Because once this train leaves the station, there won't be any opportunities to get back on at current prices. The next time you have a chance to accumulate XRP at these levels might be never. That's why they want you out. That's why there's so much negativity and FUD surrounding XRP. That's why the media focuses on every piece of bad news while ignoring all the positive developments. They know that patient retail investors are their biggest threat, and they're doing everything they can to shake your confidence. Don't let them win. Don't give up your position for a fraction of what it's really worth. Don't let short-term frustration cost you long-term wealth. Most importantly, don't let other people's lack of patience influence your financial decisions. The XRP army has been through worse than this. They've been tested by lawsuits, bear markets, media attacks, and years of sideways price action. The ones who held through all of that are about to be rewarded in ways that will seem almost unbelievable to those who sold too early. You have a choice to make. You can join the ranks of patient investors who understand that generational wealth requires generational thinking, or you can join the much larger group of people who had the right investment but lacked the patience to see it through to its full potential. I know which group I'd rather be in. The question is, do you have what it takes to be patient while everyone around you is losing their minds? Do you have the conviction to hold an asset that you believe in, even when the market doesn't seem to agree with you? If you do, then congratulations. You possess the single most valuable trait in all of investing. And if XRP does reach those $300, $400, or $500 levels that are being predicted, you're going to look back on this moment as the time when everything changed for you and your family. But if you don't have that patience, if you're already thinking about selling because things aren't moving fast enough for your liking, then I want you to really consider what you're giving up. Because once you sell, once you get shaken out of your position, the opportunity cost of missing those life-changing gains will haunt you forever. The choice is yours. Choose patience, choose conviction, choose the future that XRP represents. Your future self will thank you for having the strength to hold when everyone else was selling. Remember, they want you out. Don't give them what they want. Stay strong, stay patient, and get ready for the ride of your life. Because what's coming next is going to be absolutely incredible, and the only way to benefit from it is to still be holding when it arrives. The greatest transfer of wealth in human history is coming, and XRP is going to be right at the center of it. Don't let impatience rob you of your share of that wealth. Hold tight, stay patient, and prepare for financial freedom like you've never imagined possible. This is your moment. This is your chance. Don't waste it by giving up right before the miracle happens. The future is brighter than you can possibly imagine, but only for those with the patience to see it through to the end. Thank you for listening, and remember, patience isn't just a virtue in crypto, it's your ticket to generational wealth. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one where we'll continue tracking this incredible journey toward financial freedom.